Okay, this is my reflection for week 7. I have 3 things that I wanted to talk about. The first was Fee talks about that there are different types of prophecy. And when I was reading that section, it just made me think of Jesus as a prophet. And so I wondered which of those types of prophecy I could find as I looked through the Gospels. For instance, I remember that he did woes, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees. So that's one. There's a little bit of apocalyptic when he talks about the end times and people being taken and all that. I'm not sure how that necessarily fills in, but I thought that would be kind of really interesting to move into Jesus as a prophet and to even study that with the church, because I think that people, when you think of the threefold ministry of Christ, which sometimes people talk about as prophet, priest, and king, the role of the prophet is the one that's most similar to the Old Testament, where he's speaking the words of God. And I think it's the one that, of course, when people are asked, who do you think I am, a prophet comes up, because that's the one that's most easy for the people to grasp. So that was just my one thought, is really exploring Jesus as fulfilling the prophetic role. The second was, I was reading Brueggemann a couple of weeks ago on the Psalms, and he talks about the loss of lament in our corporate worship and as Christians, that we don't necessarily use lament anymore. And so when I think about apocalyptic and how that's not really a part of our vocabulary, I just wonder, are there things that the church is missing because we're not trying to incorporate apocalyptic or find ways to bring that into our lives right now, even fresh forms of apocalyptic that aren't the doom and gloom, like the world's coming to an end, but some sort of spectacular imagery like I talked about where Christ is really enthroned, or awesome things are part of what we think about. Okay, the third thing came from Duval. Oh, right. I was so impressed by his reminding us that the prophets and the poetry is emotive and shows us God's heart. And that's something that's really important to me, is that we think about how God feels. I don't think we think about that hardly at all. And that's one of the things that's really key to me, and I think it's one of the things I'll definitely be doing in my preaching, is telling people that God cares about us. What we do really affects him. It's not just a set of moralities or making him angry. There's all sorts of other emotions that God has, and let's think about those and really honor that relationship.